Hi everybody. So this video is about what it's like to be a speaker on the SEO circuit. I do travel and speak at a lot of conferences, or at least I did before coronavirus. And that is something that has been amazing in many ways, but also difficult in some ways, and definitely life-changing. So it's such a unique thing, and I feel so blessed to have had all the experiences I've had. So I thought people might want to know a bit more about what that's like. So number one, I think it's important to know that most speakers at the SEO conferences don't get paid. Or at least they don't get paid money. This is different from one conference to another, and sometimes you get a small honorarium or like $100 gift card to Amazon or less or more, but it's not like they're writing us big checks. In some cases, they cover our flights and hotels, and in other cases, not. Sometimes, our own companies, or if you're just a solo practitioner, you yourself are paying for your travel and hotel. And that does add up. So definitely pros and cons, and often not as glamorous as some people clearly think it is. Yes, some of the speakers do, travel first class everywhere and stay at the nicest hotels they can find and stuff like that. But often, I'm just trying to get to where I'm going and save money so that my company can spend it on other things. And I stay, wherever the conference will put me up, if they're offering that, and if not, wherever is pretty close to the venue, so I don't have to walk too far and I don't have to stress about running late. A lot of the time we fly in and out and don't get to see the cities that we're in, or at least not very much. In some cases, the conferences will plan activities and events for the speakers. Some do that much more than others. And I tend to like those things if they're local oriented. So for instance, most conferences will have a speakers dinner. And that's nice to see all your friends and catch up before an event usually. But I also like it when some of the events go kind of a step further and they'll plan a boat cruise or events in the city that showcase the history or the unique culture of the city. That makes the conferences way better for me, because then at least I don't feel like I've gone to this cool city and not seen anything, only seen the inside of a conference center or the inside of a generic hotel and a conference center. So but there is a lot of that. There's a lot of flying in the night before, doing the speakers dinner, speaking and staying at the conference for however many days, and then flying out on the last day, where you hardly get to see the city, or only in the evenings for going out with friends to dinner and drinks, or not even if you're trying to catch up on client work or prepare, fine-tune your speech at the last minute, or practice or any of that. And you obviously don't want to go out and be so exhausted the next day that you're too tired to speak or too tired to do a great job, because you've spent all this time and money to get yourself to wherever you are to do a great job. So there's a lot of pressure. And for me, when I'm speaking at a conference, we also get to go to the conferences for free. That's part of the payment. But for me, I often can't even concentrate on other speakers until I've done my speech, especially if it's a new speech. I have to kind of stay in my own little zone and focus on what I've got to do, what I've got to communicate, how I can do that best. And if I start thinking about what the other speakers are saying too much, or get interested in whatever they're saying, or sucked into that kind of a thought process, it can jumble my thoughts for what I want to say on stage. And it can be good, it can be additive, but I've found that if I start kind of meandering on stage, it's usually because something that someone else said sounded interesting and I was trying to incorporate it, but maybe not doing a really good job. So I'll usually try and do like a shout out, like, oh, this reminds me of what Mike King said, or this sounds a little bit like what you heard from, someone else. Yeah, I don't, the payment of the free attendance at the conference is great, because at least I get the free lunches and I get to walk around and meet people and find my friends and stuff like that, but actually soaking up the knowledge, which I would try to do before as much as I can, but because I want to learn. I don't think I know everything, but it is hard in the time that before you get on stage. So I actually love to be a first speaker. I really love to be opening keynote because I feel like my talks are cheerful and they can kind of be things to look out for in this conference kind of setup because it's forward-looking and future-y. So that's my favorite spot. Ending keynote, I do not. I mean, I like keynotes, and it's a prestigious thing, but everyone's so tired, and by the end of a conference, even if it's only one day, their brains are kind of mushy. So I'd rather get people when their brains are alert and not full yet. So yeah, it's that there are misconceptions, right? We're not paid. We're not all rich. I'm just doing what I do. And I actually do really love speaking. For me, I'm a huge introvert. I would say if there's such thing, I'm an extreme introvert. And I know that a lot of people think that's contradictory to speaking, but for me, it's a perfect fit. Because even though I'm an introvert, I wouldn't say I'm always shy. Shy and introvert are a little bit different. Sometimes I am shy, but mostly I just prefer to keep to myself because, I find interacting with people very taxing, very heavy on the brain processing. Like I think about it for way too long before and after social interactions. So it's just easier for me to be like an introvert, a quiet participator. But I do have things to say, and I have things that I think are interesting and interesting thoughts that I want to share and get people's feedback on. And I feel like this is kind of the joke is like I never know when it's my turn to talk in normal situations, or I'm afraid I'll put my foot in my mouth. But when I'm on stage, I'm still a little bit afraid I'll put my foot in my mouth. But I know it's my turn. It's like, this is my stage, like, hush, my turn. And I know that I, generally won't be interrupted. And so that, I love that. That's, for me, very energizing. And also just getting to share interesting thoughts. I pride myself in kind of this pursuit of interesting thoughts. And in my company, I ask employees to think new thoughts, that it's not about repeating other people's thoughts all the time, that we should be learning from other people, yes, but that shouldn't limit us in what we can know. That having your own unique thoughts is hugely valuable, and what makes someone a huge asset to a company, I think, at least, and it's what makes it exciting still, because I've been doing SEO since 2003. I've been doing mobile SEO since 2005, and so with that much time in the industry, I start to see and feel patterns in the way SEOs talk about things, the way Google talks about things, the way things actually are, and the way they're presented, and just patterns in the evolution of the technology as well. And to me, being able to cram all that historical experience into a thought that other people couldn't have because they just haven't been around as much. I think that's one of the values I bring to the industry. And I find that like just being useful to bring those thoughts together makes me feel pretty good about being around for so long. So yeah, I'm definitely an introvert, but I love being on stage. I get amazing energy from feeling like I've done a good job on stage. If I feel like I've done a bad job, that's often crushing. but I've tried to lighten up on that. Bad job is relative. Usually I'm much more of a perfectionist, and some of the things that I think went wrong, people that I talked to afterwards didn't even notice. So I'm trying to lighten up on that a little bit. But yeah, so there's a love-hate component in it because I love the on-stage part very much. I love traveling and seeing my best friends. There are people in the industry that I absolutely love and think are amazing, and they don't live in my hometown, so I only get to see them when we're at conferences. So I absolutely love being able to connect with them. And then of course I do love when I get the opportunity to see a new city. I don't love airports. I used to, but I don't anymore. But I do, I appreciate that I'm lucky for getting to see glimpses of places all over the world, even if it's not in a touristy, in-depth way. So yeah, love, hate. And I hate when something goes wrong on stage. I absolutely, it's just hard. It's hard because I spend so much time preparing, and sometimes the thing that goes wrong on stage is my fault. Sometimes it's not. But you prepare and prepare and prepare for this 20 minutes, 40 minutes, hour-long talk, whatever it is. And if things go wrong, you feel like all of the hours that you spend preparing, which I put a lot of hours into every talk that I do, that's all a bit wasted. And of course, those hours could have been billable to clients. So especially if I'm paying out of pocket to be there and I don't get to see anything fun and things go wrong on stage, that can feel like kind of a weighty mistake, whether it's someone else's fault or mine. So yeah. So as a whole, I think that's what I think people should know about me and how I feel about speaking. But I wonder what questions did I forget? What questions do you have about speaking? Are you interested in speaking? Are you trying to get on more stages? I guess I could talk about, maybe in another video, being a female speaker, if that's something that you guys would be interested in. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think, if you're going to conferences, if you have favorite speakers, all of that stuff. Thanks. Thanks for watching this video in the Getting to Know You series. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me your stories, what you want to hear more about. I'm just really excited to get to know you. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. To be notified about future videos, click the logo. And to try the MobileMoxie mobile SEO toolset, use the promo code YouTube to get 30 days free.